Is it afternoon yet? Good morning. Good morning, Doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Honor, the Governor. First, thank you, Assemblyman Cusick. Staten Island is so blessed and fortunate to have my good friend and colleague, Assemblyman Cusick, representing us in the New York State Assembly. We owe him a lot. So many of the good things that you hear about happening these days is because of the work and the leadership that we have from our Assemblyman, Mike Cusick. And the same goes true to my good friend and partner here on Staten Island in the New York State Senate, Senator Diane Savino. You know, it truly is a great honor. It really is great. It's wonderful to have Governor Cuomo here on Staten Island, here in CSI, the jewel of the CUNY system. He is and has become such a remarkable leader. You know, on the way in this morning, I told a friend, I hope I don't get in trouble as a Republican the way Governor Christie did when he talked good about the president. And the friend told me, well, that was different. He was talking about somebody running for president. And I said, I know, exactly. I know, exactly. You know, for the first time in a long time, New York State government is working toward a better future for New York. That's the truth. You need look no further, as my colleagues just mentioned, than the events surrounding the devastation brought to our shores by Superstorm Sandy. You know, they talked about his leadership, and it's so true. That leadership did not begin the moments after the storm. It began before the storm. When it approached our shores, the governor already mobilized resources, started targeting areas where help was needed and getting those resources there. During the storm, he was there making changes in order to make sure that people, as best as possible, could be made safe. And of course, in the moments after the storm, he was there with all of us here on Staten Island, elected officials, neighbors, friends, folks from around the country really came together in the wake of that storm. And really, at the lead was our great governor, Governor Cuomo. And I can tell you that I've watched him every day since. He and his administration, they've worked hard and continue to work hard to make sure that we bring federal and state resources together and deliver them directly to the people who have been hardest hit. And you're going to hear more about that in a few moments. But as Borough President Molinaro said, I don't know where we would be without Governor Cuomo's leadership on that issue. And that's just the latest of examples. You know, when I came to Albany a few short years ago, the notion of an on-time budget here in New York was something people had lost faith in. It was something that people thought would never happen again. And with the governor's leadership, that changed. 2 on-time budgets, filling multi-billion-dollar gaps, and the best part for me, doing it all with no new taxes. He did it, as Assemblyman Cusick said, and at the same time, reforming the tax code, lowering taxes for the first time in decades for millions of New Yorkers, to the point where millions of New Yorkers are paying less in state income tax than they have for almost 60 years. Quite an accomplishment. People said you couldn't do that. You couldn't fill those gaps. You couldn't pass an on-time budget. And you certainly could not do all of that and lower taxes, let alone keeping taxes and adding no new taxes or fees to that. Well, the governor said, nonsense. We can, and we will, and I watched him. He did. So he's batting 1,000. He's batting 1,000, 2 for 2. Our job, Senator Savino, my colleagues in the Assembly, our job, and I pledge, and I'm committed to working with this governor, our great governor, to ensure that we keep his batting average right there at 1,000. Governor, let me end by saying this. Thank you for your leadership. Leadership matters. Thank you, too, for proving that there is still virtue in putting differences aside, working together for the good of the people. I think that in working with this governor, that is his greatest strength. He has never let, in my experience with this governor, he has never let politics get in the way of doing what is right for the people. The state was hungry for that. The governor has put us back on track. I sure hope Washington is watching, because I believe they can learn a lot from our governor, Governor Cuomo. So with that, let me again say thank you, Governor. And it's my pleasure to introduce one of your own, a budding star, someone of my own ilk. I started my professional career as an accountant with Pete Marwick. She, too, just told me, she reminded me how old I am, because when I left college, I worked at one of the big 8 firms. She told me now it's the big 4. So it is my pleasure to introduce Catherine Brigandi.